Saint Jerome in his study, a symbolic portrait of a scholar and a saint. The painting of Saint Jerome in his study, attributed to Marinus van Reymerswale around c. 1535–1545, is a fascinating example of the Northern Renaissance style of portraiture. The painting depicts Saint Jerome, one of the four Latin fathers of the Church, who was renowned for his scholarly and ecclesiastical achievements, especially his translation and commentary of the Bible. The painting is full of symbolic elements that reflect Saint Jerome's life, work, and beliefs, as well as the humanist values and interests of his contemporary admirers. The painting shows Saint Jerome sitting at a desk in a cluttered study, surrounded by various objects that relate to his intellectual and spiritual pursuits. He is wearing a red robe and a white cap, indicating his status as a cardinal, although the office did not exist in his time. He served as the secretary to Pope Damasus I in Rome from 382 to 384, for whom he revised the translations of the Gospels and Psalms into Latin. After the Pope's death, he retired to Bethlehem, where he headed a monastic community and completed his revision of the Latin translation of the Old Testament, known as the Vulgate. He also wrote biblical commentaries and polemical letters and writings. On the wall behind him hangs his cardinal's hat, a symbol of his ecclesiastical authority and service. Next to it is a skull, a common motif in Renaissance art, representing the transience of life and the inevitability of death. Saint Jerome is pointing at the skull with his left index finger, emphasizing the memento mori theme and inviting the viewer to reflect on their own mortality and salvation. His right hand holds a pen, a symbol of his scholarly work and writing. On the desk are various scrolls and books, some of them open, indicating his extensive knowledge and learning. Among them are a Hebrew Bible and a Greek New Testament, the sources of his translation and commentary. A crucifix stands prominently on the desk, a symbol of his faith and devotion. A lion lies under the desk, a reference to the legend that Saint Jerome befriended a lion by removing a thorn from its paw. On the lectern is an illuminated manuscript with a miniature of the Last Judgment on the left-hand page. The miniature is inspired by Albrecht Dürer's woodcut of the same subject in his Small Passion series. The scene depicts Christ as the judge of the living and the dead, surrounded by angels and saints, while the blessed are welcomed into heaven and the damned are cast into hell. The miniature reinforces the theme of transience and morality, and was often associated with a penitent Saint Jerome in the late Middle Ages. The right-hand page of the manuscript shows a text in Latin, possibly one of Saint Jerome's writings or a prayer. The painting of Saint Jerome in his study is one of the few subjects depicted by Van Reymerswale, and he did so in several versions with many repetitions. It is usually assumed that they are based on the Saint Jerome that Albrecht Dürer painted during his stay in Antwerp in 1521. The compositional similarities between Dürer's Saint Jerome and Van Reymerswale's version in Berlin support this hypothesis. However, Van Reymerswale's depiction differs from Dürer's in some aspects, such as the gesture of pointing at the skull and the inclusion of the Last Judgment miniature. These differences may reflect Van Reymerswale's personal interpretation or adaptation of the theme, or his response to the preferences and expectations of his patrons and audience. The painting of Saint Jerome in his study by Marinus van Reymerswale is a remarkable portrait of a scholar and a saint, who was admired and emulated by humanist scholars of the time. The painting combines realism and symbolism, creating a complex and compelling narrative of Saint Jerome's life, work, and beliefs. The painting also reveals the skill and creativity of Van Reymerswale, who used detail and color to create a vivid and expressive image. The painting invites the viewer to appreciate and learn from Saint Jerome's remarkable legacy and example.